Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the August 26th, 2020 meeting of the Rotterdam Town Board. Ms. Marco, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Christo?
Present.
Mr. Gitarelli?
Present.
Mrs. Miller-Herrera? Mrs. Miller-Herrera is muted. I can't hear her.
Present.
Thank you. Mr. Signor?
Here.
And Mr. Thomason?
Present.
5 present.
Thank you, everyone. Would you all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? And Evan, would you lead us, please? Pledge allegiance to the flag. Can you hear me? Is everyone muted? I think everybody's muted. That's why you can't anyway. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under
under
God.
God, indivisible, liberty, and justice. Okay. Yeah, folks are muted. I was waiting for someone to start. I'm sorry. My apologies. So under supervisor's report, before we get into the public hearings and the resolutions themselves and any public comment we have tonight, I'd just like to make a couple of brief announcements. So last week, I received a call from our county legislator, Holly Villano. She had asked me to put some additional information out there regarding the census. And apparently we're at approximately 75% of our community has responded to the census. So I just implore everyone who is in our town to please respond to the census. You can go right online to 2020census.gov. Again, 2020census.gov. If you're having difficulty accessing the getting online, there are other ways that you can be counted. What I would ask you to do is to call here also, call our town hall at 355-7575, and we can give you some additional guidance. But for the most part, whether it's paper form or online, you can access the census. If the funding that comes through the federal government down to the state level, county level, and eventually even to our town, because one way or another the funds are coming in, whether they're state generated income or federal income that comes down to us to assist us in grants and other opportunities that we have here in our community. Having an accurate count for the census is obviously what it takes. So please be counted. Also, we had originally planned to have a ribbon cutting at our senior center on September 1. We've run into just back-ordered material and other unforeseen issues. We had that one massive rainfall there a few weeks ago. We had a lot of other things that impacted us, and apparently there was another leak in one of the sections of roof that, was like it was okay, but I guess we had a section that was not. We had not worked on it previously under this current contract, and so we had a leak there. So we have a few issues to take care of. So what we're doing, and this will go out tomorrow through a press release, is that we're going to have our ribbon cutting on October 2nd at 9:30 a.m. So just pushing it a month, make sure that we have everything done. And also, now that the floor is in, we need to put markings down for social distancing and so on. So that's a lot of it too. There's just a lot more work that needs to be accomplished there than.
Oh God, yes, that'd be terrible. How long that takes?
So let's go into our public hearings. We have public hearing 1 this evening on the establishment of Sartoli Avenue Extension of Water District 5. What we'll do is Ms. Marco will read the public hearing information here, and then if you, I know Barbara wants to speak, but if anyone else wants to speak, I would just ask that you unmute your phone, state your name and address for the record, and you're free to speak. I would ask that you keep your comments to 4 minutes maximum. And what I'll do is when you get to about 3 minutes, I'll put my hand up at the 3-minute mark, and when you get to 4 minutes, I'll put my hand up again and just ask that you summarize your final comments. So Ms. Marco, would you please read public hearing 1?
But Mr. Supervisor,
Go ahead.
can I speak before we get started into the public hearing?
What's that?
I thought you were going to open it up to if anyone else wanted to say anything before we started. Can we discuss the timing and release of the agendas?
Can we do that at the end so we can get through the agenda?
I just want to make sure, so as of right now, can all the public see the final agenda posted on the website?
Let's see here. Dana, can you see if that is, I'm not able to load it here on my end. Can you see if you get that up there?
There's just a draft, Steve.
Yeah.
So
I really,
public meeting rules. So what are the public meeting rules that we're having a meeting right now and the final agenda is not published to the public?
we'll put the short form up right now. We can get that loaded. I think it just takes time for it to load. So we can just delay the meeting for a few minutes and just wait then. We'll wait until that's done.
Right, and like I said, I
I'll
was
just
hoping
mute
we could
Joe.
discuss the timing of these agendas, the way they're released. The draft was released today at 11:30.
Maybe, okay. Why don't you finish your comments and then I'll comment.
And it's I'm just saying, can we discuss this as a board so we're not all under this pressure right now? The final agenda has 566 pages. We just pushed it out. I just feel like it's a lot of pressure on all of us, not just me. And are we thoroughly going through this before we discuss it? And I was just hoping we could maybe set some guidelines for ourselves. And I know there's things going on and it's tough to do this, but I'm just hoping we could discuss moving forward. We used to be Friday afternoon. Draft agenda was published. We had the weekend to absorb it, look at it. We knew there were some changes coming and that's fine. But I mean, right now, it just seems like so many meetings, we're down to the wire, publishing the final, and the public does not have the ability to see the final, and we're starting meetings.
How different is the final agenda from the regular agenda?
200 plus pages.
Well,
I mean, I
Which-
think there was an email today that addressed this issue. I don't know if everyone checked their emails, but the town attorney addressed that the department heads are not following deadlines for ledge review and asked us to speak with them directly. So that's definitely something we need to do, because I agree, this is too much to be going through 10 minutes before a meeting. Luckily, you know, we're a pretty
And we,
aware group and knowledgeable on a lot of these issues before they hit the agenda. But, you know, when ledge review deadlines are set, they really need to be
and here's
deadlines are deadlines, and those deadlines exist for us, so we have adequate time to review.
Yeah, I would just also add to that we pushed back the time of which it was due this month by 1 week. So there was an additional week to prepare it. In addition to that, as I addressed in my email, which I started at 6 a.m. this morning, at that point, you had 9 additional add-ons that had come in after 4 o'clock on Friday. In addition to that, then you had an add-on of a tax certiorari, which I had a conference with Andy Brick for yesterday. And then in terms of combing through other items that were brought to my attention yesterday morning at 7:30, I then realized that things had voted on in 2018 and 2019 had since expired in terms of emails that I had sent you last week. With respect to 256 pages cited, 111 of those is an updated seeker document of something that you have already voted on back on July 31st, 2018. I did say in my email, if you had any questions, to please contact me when I subsequently sent you a draft, but I did not hear from you today, Joe, with regards to that.
Right, and I did see that, and again, it's released at 11:30. I work and run a business, as Evan does, and as you know, many of us do, and it's okay. We have a lot to take in, and again, back to the general public does not have the ability to see.
if I may.
Well, I would note in relation to the law that the information that you're considering has to be made available to the public as practicable under the open meetings law. So if your department heads don't send it to you, or if you have an emergency that's been existing since August 4th, but then you don't receive documentation regarding it, until 4:32 in the afternoon on the day of the meeting. What would you like to do with that? What is your suggestion in relation to that? Would you like to remove it from the agenda and hold it until September 9th? Would you like to have a special
No, and
meeting?
like I said, the draft agenda was only released today, and I understand we have these last minute things, but this isn't the first meeting. It's probably the third, fourth, maybe fifth.
Right, because this is a habitual, continual problem.
Right. So, like I said, how do we
In
fix
my
it?
email.
How do we fix it is what I'm getting at. I just don't think it's fair to us. I don't think it's fair to the public that, okay, the meeting starts at 7 and here's the final agenda, everybody. And again, it's back.
And I provided you with a subsequent recommendation this morning at approximately 8:30 a.m. in relation.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. Joe, do you have any suggestions?
No, like I said, I just want to discuss this so we're not doing this again next time we have another meeting. That's it.
If I may.
No, absolutely.
Think on it and move on. I'm fine. Let's
All
just
right,
move
well,
on.
I just want to add my viewpoint on this, okay? You know, let's analyze this whole delay in releasing the agenda. I don't think our board or our office staff or our town attorney is releasing it late because of a malicious intent or of a cryptic intent.
I agree.
reality-
I did
Joe, let me-
I did not say that. So
I didn't
don't
say that
know
you
what-
said.
I don't
I'm
know.
analyzing. I didn't say you say that. I'm not saying you're saying that, but I know in other municipalities that has happened. What I am saying is that, yes, the public is entitled to know, and that we should do everything we can to serve and offer to the public all the details possible. So this is the point I was getting to. The point is this, okay? We have had this COVID thing for 4 or 5 months. Everybody's trying to hold everything together. This is going to happen right now. It's going to happen because we have one of two choices. You could put down the axe and say, sorry, you didn't make the cut, but is the department head going to suffer, or is the developer going to suffer? Is the street going to suffer? Is the sewer extension going to suffer? Is the water district extension going to suffer? At the end of the day, I'll sacrifice a little bit of analysis in order to keep the town on track, keep the town moving forward, and not hold off because either a department head got busy, something got thrown at the, like a tax certiorari. Why you want to drag that out? Yes, it's late. But at the end of the day, if Andy Brick has talked to us about it all and our legal team has analyzed it, personally, I put a certain amount of faith on certain issues. Other issues, yes, I may want to pick it apart. But in my opinion, we need to make sure that the public doesn't suffer, and the municipality doesn't suffer, and the infrastructure doesn't suffer by these delays. Yes, can we work on it? Absolutely. But again, I'll sacrifice a little bit of analysis, or I'll read it as I go along in the interest of keeping things moving forward. I didn't say that you said that there was a malicious intent, but I think everybody is doing their best to keep on the job and do what we can with the limited resources that we have had through this whole COVID thing. Just my viewpoint on it. Mr. Supervisor, if you want to add anything, go right ahead.
No, nothing at all. Thank you for your.
We open the discussion and we can talk about it moving forward.
Yeah.
Like I said,
We can talk about it 2 at a time too. You want to come over and have lunch, Joe? We can talk about it and figure out a plan. At least we can make a recommendation with a solution.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so let's move into public hearing 1 at this time for the establishment of Sartoli Avenue extension of Water District 5. Ms. Marco, would you please read the public hearing notice?
The proposed Sartoli Avenue extension of Water District 5 consists of the 5 residential parcels along Sartoli Avenue, construction of plus or minus 530 LF of 6-inch plastic water main with 2 fire hydrants, 1 intermediate and 1 end of line, and to provide 7 service connections to the dwelling units with frontage along Sartoli Avenue. In addition, the project will add a new fire hydrant on Rome Avenue within the town right-of-way. The boundaries of the proposed district extension are detailed and described in the map and Appendix G and F of the July 20, 2020 map plan and report, Sartoli Avenue Water District Extension, Town of Rotterdam, New York. The maximum proposed cost for this project is $100,000. The town plans to bond the proposed project for 30 years at an estimated 3.5% interest rate. The district annually will be charged operation and maintenance costs based on the 2019 rate of 0.344785 per 1,000 of assessed parcel value, with a median cost of $47.58 per user. The total annual debt service responsibility totals $76.97 per EDU to the typical property. The current annual consumption fee is $75 per household for residential and commercial parcels. The cost to a typical 1 or 2 family home is $199.55. Additionally, there currently is one-time $35 water service permit fee, as well as a water service tap fee of $1,100 plus $4 foot of water service if on same side of the street, and $1,500 plus $4 a foot of water service if on opposite side of the street. The town board may consider waiving this connection fee in order to encourage connections and to help alleviate the cost of connection pending review of funding options. The town resolution establishing the proposed district is subject to permissive referendum as provided by the New York State Town Law. The public presentation of the map plan and report in accordance with New York State Town Law related to the creation of the proposed Sartoli extension of Water District 5 will occur again at this time. The map plan and report is available for public inspection in the office of the Rotterdam Town Clerk by appointment. Due to the restrictions put in place pursuant to the executive law of the state of New York and in the public interest, it shall be also available at www.rotterdamny.org.
Thank you very much. Okay, and I know that Barbara wanted to speak, so Barbara, if you'd like to speak on public hearing 1. Just has, somebody has to unmute her, or she has to unmute herself there. There you go.
Can you hear me now, sir?
Yes, yes, I can.
Okay, thank you so very much. I'd like to start out by saying that thank you so very much to you and all the members of the board finally for coming to some kind of resolution here for us. It's been a long and very long road for us on dealing with our unfortunate situation here. So I want to start out by saying thank you with sincerity for all of what we've got going on here. So thank you to all of you. With that being said, you know, I see, you know, we're trying to come to an amicable decision here as far as funds for all of us to get to an amicable monies. Wondering if there's a way I'd like to address and ask you about these additional fees being assessed with the water service permit fee and the water service tap fee. It was, to my understanding, that that was already kind of included and factored in to the estimate of the $199.58, which we were already, the residents were already be paying. Was wondering if that was going to be, I saw that it was maybe going to be waived. Do you think that will be waived?
So that's, Barbara, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just wondering if that, if you know, if you had, if that was going to be waived for us, those fees.
That's a future consideration for us. Right now, what we're doing is putting forth the establishment of the district.
Okay.
With the numbers that we know. We, as you know, we have received some funds from the county to help us along. We have, with your help as well, and others on Sartoli, reached out to state elected officials, and we're waiting on word about those, about some potential for some other sources of funding. And so, you know, our intention here is to, you know, help in every way that we can, but that's a future town board consideration. Right now, we've got to get this district established, or this extension established, and we can visit that. That's why this is worded the way that it is.
Okay. Because, I mean, because, you know, because, not to interrupt you, sir, my apologies, is that, you know, we are, you know, we're definitely, we understand, you know, that we have to pay to go from our houses to tap in to the water line. And, you know, that's pretty much that's absolutely the max that all of us, could pay is that $200. So that's why I'm asking, about waiving that fee. I mean, I have also have been in contact with, Mr. Santa Barbara's office and of hearing some, pretty good positive things from them, so I'm in hope that we can get some funding from them, to help reduce some of our costs here, extra costs here for the residents here, for myself and for the residents here on our street. So I'm hoping for that too, but I don't know how much more we can endure as far as more cost, because that could be pretty costly with those extra, without having those waived. You know what I mean?
We hear you, and
Okay.
that's why this, in reading, as Ms. Marco did here with the public hearing, just this month, so I'll just read it again. So.
No, I read it.
But I'll just read it. Just so, okay. So the town board may consider waiving this connection in order to encourage connections and help alleviate the costs of connections pending review of funding options. Okay. So pretty much everything we're both talking about is right there in that one sentence. Okay.
Barbara,
I would also, Steve,
first of all, thank you always for your input, Barbara. And I will tell you that I know myself and I know my colleagues well enough. If the money is there, we're going to fight hard to waive it. You, in my opinion, you should still keep hammering this Assemblyman's office. You should hammer the state Senate office, the county.
I am.
Because it's, and that only helps all of us, because
at
the end of the day, it's a trickle-down effect. If the government gives us money for a specific project, we pass that entire savings on to the residents.
Yes, I am. I'm doing, as well as you guys are doing everything you can to help us, which I am extremely appreciative for. I'm doing everything I can to do here also, and like I said, it's been an unfortunate thing. And that's kind of the thing, is that, with this water that's been running down here from Kings Road, it's getting worse and worse. Our road is eroding. Our wells are just, overflowing from the runoff road. It's, as the years been going by, it's just been getting worse and worse and worse. Sometimes this is a redundant story over and over again. I'm sure as much as I'm tired of talking about it, you're tired of hearing about it. We sometimes don't even get our mail or our postal, our parcel post from UPS or anything else, because they won't come down our road. And you guys know that. I mean, you've been by here, and everyone's been by here when that happens. So I don't need to keep telling you our same story. So the point is that it's going to be fixed. We just need to see about when it's going to be fixed. And so I'm doing as much as I possibly can to help find the money. So, and I'm appreciative of that. You guys are doing whatever you can to find the money. And I know when you can, you will. So that's just the bottom line. We just got to pay at least as much, because we're not a lot of residents down this road, so we can't pay an astronomical amount of money.
We hear you, and we're grateful for your comments and thankful. That you are.
So, and I'm appreciative of you also. So thank you so much for everything that you guys are trying to do too. So don't think I'm not. I'm very appreciative. So.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, anyone else want to be heard on public hearing 1 this evening?
Supervisor Thomason, I would just note that for the purposes of the question that she asked, we are required by the statute, as well as by the guidance from the Office of State Comptroller, to include the maximum amount that any resident could ever possibly pay in the creation of a district. And so it's written that way, not with the town board's intent, right? And we try to signal these types of things, by saying that there may be a waiver in the future, but we're required to make residents aware of the maximum amount that they would pay. And so I just wanted to note that for the purposes of the public hearing, because it doesn't in any way, shape, or form mean that that's the final number. It means that that's the max number as it exists right now.
Okay, thank you. And anyone else like to be heard on public hearing 1 at this time? Anyone else like to be heard on public hearing 1 at this time? Anyone else like to be heard on public hearing 1 at this time? Okay, I'll declare public hearing 1 closed, and we'll move into public comment privilege of the floor. This is where if anyone would like to speak on any topic of concern to them or any of the resolutions that we have before us this evening, I would ask that you just, again, unmute your phone and state your name and address for the record. Again, there's a 4-minute limit, and appreciate at this time if anyone would like to speak under public comment privilege of the floor. Okay, anyone under public comment privilege of the floor? Anyone under public comment privilege of the floor? Okay, all right, so we'll move into our resolutions. We'll wait for Mr. Christou to come back to his chair. There he is. Okay, so move into the resolutions. Resolution 21320, Ms. Marco.
Authorize the supervisor to enter into a contract with Elizabeth Greenwood for consulting services for the year 2020.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
I move.
A motion by Mr. Christou. Is there a second, please?
I'll second.
Okay, second by Mr. Signor. Anyone on the question? So on the question, I'll be very brief. I circulated a Ms. Greenwood's resume as well as a if you will, a short duty statement. There's a lot here that we're going to be doing here over the next few months, and you know, to everyone's, hopefully to everyone's relief and satisfaction at the end of the day. And one of the resolutions, and this doesn't have directly to do with it, but just to give you some idea, with her background, with Elizabeth's background, we're going to be able to get a lot accomplished here in a short period of time. We're moving into a new year with a new budget. 2021 is going to be a very, very difficult year, I think, financially. This is my personal opinion. This year, obviously, we already know it's difficult. Our revenues are down, our expenses are climbing here and there. And so along those lines, we're going to be doing a lot more, working a little closer with the union as well, particularly the CSEA, to retool some job descriptions and afford folks a better path also, in my opinion, for advancement here within the town. And even if they were to go elsewhere, they would at least have a higher skill set. And I think that's one of our duties as people who manage a municipality, is not just to look inward, but to also help our staff achieve more for themselves and particularly for the future. So we have a lot of people retiring this year, or I should say scheduled to retire this year. And so one of the other resolutions that you'll find here under consent has to do with an MOA with the CSCA for early retirement benefits incentives. We're working through that right now. I'm hopeful that in about a week or so, we'll have a final draft or final agreement that I'll be able to circulate to everyone. The intention is to assist many of our employees who can do so to retire and enjoy their retirement. And frankly, with everything that's going on right now, again, in total, which is the cost of what's happening due to COVID, the abilities and inabilities of us to meet with residents one-on-one, or in greater numbers. We're all doing this virtually, and hopefully this will end sooner than later. Anyway, there's just a lot of things that we need to be cognizant of. It's not just the revenue side of our business; it's the expense side of our business. And so, with that, my hope is that we'll be able to have some folks who can have the financial means to and the ability to retire to do so, and enjoy their families, enjoy their children, their grandchildren, and be able to then we'll be able to reassess what positions it is that we will rehire, and what positions will likely change in the way that we categorize tasks and responsibilities for these positions. And you'll find, I think, that I'll bring, if we pass this evening, Elizabeth will be around. I'll be here to help introduce her to different people throughout the town administration, and we'll get our feet on the ground quickly and run next week. So with that, we have a motion by Mr. Christou and a second by Mr. Signor. Does anyone have any other comments or concerns? Okay, Ms. Mark, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Christou?
Yes.
Mr. Gitterelli? He's muted. Can you?
I'm unmuted. I'm going to vote no at this time, and I'm not saying she's not a great candidate. They're not a great candidate for this position, but I just feel at this time I don't have enough information. I reviewed the resume and the list you sent out, Steve, and I thank you for that, but at this time I'm voting no.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Signor?
Yes.
Mr. Thomasone?
Yes.
4 yes, 1 no.
Okay. Resolution 21320 passes. Resolution 21420.
Refer to the Planning Commission for a report and recommendation thereon a proposed local law of the year 2020 for the following purpose: to allow for a change of zone request located at 1049 Laura Street, known as tax map number 48.20-3-34.1. The applicant is requesting a change of zone from an R1 one-family residential to R3 multifamily on a plus or minus 9,625 square foot parcel for the construction of a 6-unit apartment building.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
I'll move.
A motion by Mr. Was that Christou?
Yes.
And a second by Ms. Miller Herrera.
Yes.
Okay. Anyone on the question for referral to the Planning Commission? Okay, Ms. Mark, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Christou?
Yes.
Mr. Gitterelli?
I'm voting yes to refer it to the Planning Commission, but personally, I think we have enough apartments, and I did drive by that location today, and I don't think it's a good spot for 6 more apartments, but I'm voting yes to refer it to the Planning Commission.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Signor?
Yes.
Mr. Thomasone?
Yes.
5 yes.
Resolution 21420 passes. Resolution 21520.
Refer to the Planning Commission for a report and recommendation thereon a proposed local law of the year 2020 for the following purpose: to allow for a change of zone request located at 387 East Campbell Road, known as tax map numbers 59.18-2-8 and 59.18-2-43. The applicant is requesting a change of zone from an R1 one-family residential to B2 general business on a plus or minus 2.3 acre portion of the plus or minus 5.74 acre parcel for the expansion of the parking area for the existing Charter Communications located at 1021 Highbridge Road.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Motion by Mr. Christou. Is there a second, please?
I'll second.
Okay, second by Mr. Signor. Anyone on the question?
Mr. Supervisor.
Yep.
So this parcel, I was looking at it on Google Earth. So right now it's a single family, and it's gonna be a parking lot. Is that what I'm?
It's a property that runs adjacent to I-890 behind Charter Communications.
So it's behind Charter.
Behind it, yeah. It runs along 890. I don't know that it abuts right to the Sport Time property, but it's close. I don't know if there's another parcel in between them.
So there's a small white home that resides on it right now, a block home. Am I looking at the right?
I think that one of the parcels is there's a couple of parcels there. I don't remember exactly now. I can't just envision the map, but there's one property or one home that is part of this parcel, and I don't know if they're subdividing it or not. That I'm not sure about. But this is really just the property that runs, again, contiguous behind those homes with 890.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Okay, anyone else on 21520? Okay, Ms. Marco, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Christou?
Yes.
Mr. Gitterelli?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Signor?
Yes.
And Mr. Thomasone?
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, resolution 21520 passes. Resolution 21620.
Adopt local law number 10 of the year 2020 for the following purpose: to amend Chapter 267 Water to repeal Section 267-9G of the Code of the Town of Rotterdam and adopt a new subpart G related to lawn sprinkling. Public hearing was called for at the Town Board meeting of June 24th, 2020. The public hearing was held at the Town Board meeting of July 22nd, 2020.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
You're muted, Steve.
I'll move.
Everybody's muted.
All right,
Okay.
Ms.
Ms.
Steve
Miller.
said it first.
No, that's okay. So, somebody's muting me on, so that's all right.
So Steve Thomasone, who made the motion? I'm sorry.
I've got Ms. Miller Herrera. and
Okay.
Seconded by Mr. Signor.
You didn't read my lips? You didn't see my lips move on the? No, it's all right. Go ahead. Sam can have this one.
Okay, are you seconding the resolution?
I'll second, sure.
Thank you. So I have a motion by Ms. Miller Herrera and a second by Mr. Signor. Anyone on the question? Okay, Ms. Marco, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Christo,
Yes.
Mr. Guidarelli,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera,
Yes.
Mr. Signor,
Yes.
and Mr. Thomasone.
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, resolution 216-20 passes. Resolution 217-20.
Adopt local law number 11 of the year 2020 for the following purpose: to amend Chapter 244 Solid Waste, Garbage, Recycling, Brush, Grass and Leaves to add Subpart I to Section 244-12, Non-Recyclable Waste, Yard Waste Packaging, Scavenging, and to include a permit process limiting the usage of the town's compost transfer facility to the residents of the town of Rotterdam. Public hearing was called for at the Town Board meeting of June 24th, 2020. Public hearing was held at the Town Board meeting of July 22nd, 2020.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Motion by Mr. Christou. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Who seconded?
Steve did.
Okay, Mr. Signor seconded. Okay, anyone on the question? Okay.
Did Evan Christo make the first motion, Steve?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
We did. And just making notes here for Dana and Teresa. Okay, and so Ms. Marco, please call the roll.
Mr. Christo,
Yes.
Mr. Guidarelli,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera,
Yes.
Mr. Signor,
Yes.
and Mr. Thomasone.
Yes.
5 yes.
The resolution 217-20 passes. Resolution 218-20.
Declare the town board as lead agency and authorize the town planner to prepare, file, publish, and distribute all documents necessary to comply with NYCRR Part 617 and State Environmental Quality Review related to the Curry Road Condo Property Sewer Conveyance Heritage Condo Area, SIA.
Can we have a motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Christou. Is there a second, please?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Signor. Anyone on the question? Okay, Ms. Marco, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Christo,
Yes.
Mr. Guidarelli,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera,
Yes.
and Mr. Signor,
Yes.
and Mr. Thomasone.
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, resolution 218-20 passes. Resolution 219-20.
Declare the town board as lead agency and authorize the town planner to prepare, file, publish, and distribute all documents necessary to comply with NYCRR Part 617 and State Environmental Quality Review and adopt the negative declaration dated August 26, 2020 for the Rotterdam Wastewater Treatment Plant WWTP Improvements Project.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
A motion by Mr. Christou. Is there a second, please?
I'll second.
Okay, second by Mr. Signor. Anyone on the question? Okay, Ms. Mark, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Christo,
Yes.
Mr. Guidarelli,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera,
Yes.
Mr. Signor,
Yes.
and Mr. Thomasone.
Yes.
5 yes.
The resolution 219-20 passes. Resolution 220-20.
Declare the Town Board is lead agency and authorize the town planner to prepare, file, publish, and distribute all documents necessary to comply with the NYCRR Part 617 and State Environmental Quality Review and adopt the negative declaration dated August 26, 2020 in relation to National Grid easements.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion.
A motion by Mr. Guidarelli. Is there a second, please?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Guidarelli. Anyone on the question? Okay, Ms. Marco, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Christo,
Yes.
Mr. Guidarelli,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera,
Yes.
Mr. Signor,
Yes.
Mr. Thomason.
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, resolution 22020 passes. Resolution 22120.
Authorize the supervisor to grant National Grid a permanent easement for the Amsterdam, Rotterdam three-quarter lines across property that is owned by the town for the purposes of the right to access of utility lines in the future for repair, maintenance, modification, and improvement.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Motion by Mr. Christou. Is there a second, please?
A second.
Okay, second by Mr. Guidarelli. Anyone on the question? Okay, just on the question, I'll just, so these resolution 220 and 221 have to do with our work with National Grid, and I want to thank them publicly for working with the town on this to work together with us. They had come in some time ago to speak with us about it, making improvements to their power lines, and these power lines run through a large section of the canal in Rotterdam Junction. And we were able to come up with an agreement to get those power lines out of the canal. Right now they're on, they're on concrete posts, if you will, and get them out of the canal and mount them on property adjacent to the canal that we own. They'll beautify that area. There's more for us to do there, in particular, to make it look, to make it not just aesthetically pleasing, but also from a historical perspective, to make some references there to how important the canal, those of us who know, was to commerce in our help to grow not just Rotterdam but Amsterdam, Schenectady, etc. So I want to thank National Grid for their help and all the town staff who was involved, and this is going to be great. I'm really looking forward to seeing all this work accomplished. And again, it's right along the bike trail also, if I forgot to mention that. So it will make a huge difference in the future. So we have a motion by Mr. Christou and a second by Mr. Guidarelli. Ms. Marco, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Christo,
Yes.
Mr. Guidarelli,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera,
Yes.
Mr. Signor,
Yes.
and Mr. Thomason.
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, resolution 22120 passes. Resolution 22220.
Authorize the supervisor to execute change orders for the Rotterdam Senior Center project.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Motion by Mr. Christou. Is there a second, please?
I'll second.
Okay, second by Mr. Signor. Anyone on the question? Okay, Ms. Marco, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Christo,
Yes.
Mr. Guidarelli,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera,
Yes.
Mr. Signor,
Yes.
and Mr. Thomason.
Yes.
5 yes.
The resolution 22220 passes. Now we have our consent agenda, which I'll review several of these resolutions as we go through here. But if someone would like to make a motion for consent agenda for resolutions 223 through 24120.
Isn't Evan our general consent guy to do this, Evan?
He was muted.
That's what I was thinking.
All right. I lost you there for a minute. There's a bad echo here. Mr. Supervisor, could you just repeat that?
We're all waiting on you, Evan.
Your rhythm's off.
Steve is,
Can we talk about the public hearing one? I think it's the last one. No, it's not the last one.
yeah, let's get the motions in, and then we discuss them.
Mr. Supervisor, I make the motion for the consent agenda 223.20 to 233.20.
241.
I'm sorry, 241.20.
So you said 223.20 to 241.20?
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Christou. Is there a second, please?
I'll second.
Okay, a second by Mr. Signor. So let's go through on the question here. We have we've got just some bids that have to go out. One is for some of these things are not, so wastewater treatment plant sludge and screening, grit hauling and disposal. That's a bid that's going out for us. We are moving money to pay for work that is being that has already been accomplished over at the water plant, Water 5, for our chlorine building and other improvements there. We're anticipating money from the state through our water grant and low interest loan that we received through the state. Just that, of course, is a little bit behind because of everything that's been going on here these past few months. So what we're doing is for that particular payment, moving money out of our water funds, and then later on we'll replenish that money when we receive the grant funds. We have bids for the pump station on Highbridge, and the Highbridge pump station that needs new pumps and some other work. We have the agreement that we had with Rotterdam Boys and Girls Club had to be redone. And so we're going for a multi-year contract with them. And that's Resolution 226. We have on Patton Drive, and as we all know that there's an issue there from that entire area there. For those of you who know, it's a very wet area. There are roads there that are piped with large 36-inch pipe that goes through, and so where there were creeks and streams at one point, they piped them, and this is one of those areas that needs major work. Right now, there's a sinkhole there. We're going to be working with a company called Precision Trenching to go in there and help us to make that repair.
Steve, will they correct the spelling of Patton Drive?
Yeah, I was just going to mention that.
I saw that too. Yeah. I saw
Okay.
it. Yeah, it's not a, yeah.
Okay.
ON.
You got it.
It's like, it's like some of our streets on Google show up as street or road when they're drive, and whatever. These things sometimes we make these, don't write to Google either because they never respond back. Just to make corrections. We're still moving forward on a purchase of that property on Von Roll Drive, and we have our salt shed grant, and we're working through that. What I spoke about earlier, which had to do with the early retirement incentive. We've got just resolutions here to move forward with our sewer extensions along Carmen Road, and that's also part in Curry Road, and that's basically what the if you will, the condemnation stuff is in there, which when I say condemnation, it has to do with us, moving forward through the EDPL law to ensure that we can get those sewer lines in as soon as possible. The KP Engineering, working with them to help us with pump station alarms, and moving forward to our landfill, which we have to monitor from now to the end of time with CT mail. We're rescinding the order in order to move forward with our EDPL process. The Chazen Engineering, again, these all have to do with the sewer district declaring lead agency for the sewer 7 extension 2. Calling for the public hearing for the EDPL for our next meeting, which will be held on Wednesday, September 9th for that sewer district. And then we have 236, and these others are pretty much standards that we have in most, except for one, most of our resolutions here, which have to do with authorizing department heads to declare certain equipment obsolete, gas and diesel expenditures, and moving money between various accounts and departments, if you will. We have a stipulation agreement, tax tertiary agreement with Viewport that we have to enact. We had the town clerk's report, accepting that from July for last month's report. Budget transfers by the town comptroller, and then just adopting our meeting minutes from July 22nd. So I don't know if anyone has any other questions, but that's we're basically moving ahead with mostly all business that we had prior meetings, outside of a couple of these contracts and just obviously the work that's needed on Penn Drive. We need to get to that immediately. So we have motion by Mr. Christou, I think, right? And a second by Mr. Signor for consent agenda 223 through 24120. Anyone else?
Mr. Supervisor, where are we on bond roll?
It's a great question. So the last conversation I had on this last month had to do with the engineer who was working on it. I don't think is working any longer for the firm that we had engaged for that project. So I know that they're still in the midst of getting the property to be in compliance with what it is that we were looking for and what the DEC is looking for. And so I know that our town attorney, Ms. McGurl, has been in conversations with their legal counsel in just this past couple of weeks. And that's kind of where we are right now. I don't know what that means, and I'll be upfront with you what that means yet to us closing on this property, but we need to close on it soon so that we can get started with our own site work and so that we can get started with getting that salt building erected and start moving our highway operations there. That's where we are. Kind of where we were 2 months ago, 3 months ago, 4 months ago in the big scheme of things, unfortunately.
Or longer than that, it seems.
Yeah, no, there's no question. No question. I thought we were going to really be in good shape about 4 or 5 months ago. It just seems to drag that a little bit.
Supervisor, I have a question. On the call for public hearing, what do we have? 13 parcels, 1, 2, no. 4, 16, 17. So the map parcel numbers are there. Didn't I see at one point we listed property owners as well, or not?
That's in the detail. You'll see that in the detail.
Yeah, I was looking. I didn't see it, but all right, it's in different details. It's in what Chazen drew up for us. Then it's not on this.
It's all these properties are those that are along Carmen Road, Curry Road, Hamburg Street, and that intersection there.
That was it.
We just I'm not sure if we have all of the part of the process is we have to have appraisals performed on all the those pieces of property, if you will, that we maybe assuming. So I don't think those are all completed yet. We'll have to see what's going on there. So I'll stand corrected on that, but I don't know that they're all completed yet. So as part of the process, we have to do that also. Okay, no one else? Okay, Ms. Marco, would you call the roll on 223 through 240, 120, please?
Mr. Christou?
Yes.
Mr. Guidarelli?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Signor?
Yes.
And Mr. Thomason?
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay. And so at this point, under committee reports or miscellaneous, if anyone has anything they'd like to bring up this evening. guess I'll entertain a motion for adjournment then.
I'll make a motion. Evan, you don't mind, do you?
Not at all. That's why I kept quiet on purpose.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Guidarelli for adjournment. Is there a second?
Seconded.
Steve?
Give it to Evan.
Seconded by Mr. Christou. Okay, all in favor of adjournment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I
Okay, thank you very much for being in our meeting. And I just want to say to all of you, stay safe, and I hope all your families are well, and hopefully see you in person very soon.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you very much.
Supervisor.
Thank you.
thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Bye.
Ron.
Let's see here.